So, like, I was coming to work this morning and I was getting off the freeway. And I'm that kind of driver that, like, it kind of bugs me when people try to, like, well, it bugs me when people try to cut me off. But, like, when people try and speed up past me just to get in front of me, and I'm like, no, like, you go behind me if you want to get into the right lane.
Ugh, I hate that.
Like, I was doing that with this car, and I'm getting off at my ramp exit, and I see this cop on the motorcycle. And for a second, I thought he was going to come after me. I'm like, but then he goes after the other car. I'm like, yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know if the car next to me kind of saw that I was speeding off, so he was doing the same thing. I thought he was going to try and come over to my lane, but then he just kept going on the freeway. And then the cops going after him, and I'm like, dude, I just got someone in trouble with the police. Like, I just busted them. Like, in your face.
That is so
What'd you
great.
get for racing me? I know, it's a beautiful story. I'm gonna keep this in the Mag Deprav review that we're about to do.
It's so great. I am ready for this chapter because I'm anticipating
yes!
greatness.
I'm so bummed that you missed the last chapter. So I guess a quick sum up of that. Basically, Ciel and Johan like smack it together.
Oh.
And
damn.
Yeah. And you know, one thing leads to another and they're like having sex.
Oh
and Sebastian's kind of spying on them. And so now that leads us to chapter 31.
Sebastian, you creepy voyeur.
Right? He's spying from some tree in the backyard or something.
What the hell? Well, why is he in a tree?
He's a demon, dude. He could just jump onto a tree and, you know, kind of spy from there. And then Ciel and Johan don't know. The shadows, like, what?
You became like a robot.
Anyway,
that
proper
was so
weird. Before we do start. I did?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It was so weird. All right, you're better now, I think.
Okay, I'll go ahead and do the intro then.
Okay, go for it.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Theorist, here with your host, JC Botero67. And today we are taking a look at Mag Deprav, chapter 31. And Alex is back with me to co-host this thing. So
hello
yay.
Again, everyone.
I'm so glad to have you back. I felt so like empty inside when I had to do chapter 30 all alone.
I know, it's a heartbreaking moment.
It is. But yeah, I just filled you in on a little bit of chapter 30. The major part, I guess, was that Ciel and Johan share a kiss. Well, Johan kissed Ciel. And then Ciel gets all upset and, you know, with Sebastian. He's like, oh, you put him up to this and blah, blah, blah. And Sebastian's like, no, I didn't. And, you know, I guess kind of Ciel kind of hints at trying to have a relationship again with Sebastian. But he's just like, oh, I can't give you what you want. So go to Johan for comfort. And that's, you know, I guess eventually one thing leads to another. It's in a matter of days because Sebastian actually returned to like the main manor to get some stuff because they're going to throw the party at the townhouse. So he's away. I guess Ciel and Johan have sexy time during that time. And then when Sebastian comes back, you know, he asks Mayrin, oh, where are they? And Mayrin's like blushing. So Sebastian kind of gets the hint. And then, you know, he just jumps up on a tree and spies in on Ciel and Johan in the act.
Oh,
so
Mayrin.
That's where chapter 30 left off.
I love that I come back in time for sex. It's
right.
Great.
You're almost like Black Rosita in our group messages.
When, I know, right? She always shows up whenever
about,
sex
like,
comes.
Oh, yeah, we're talking about like weather or, you know, work or how our day's been. And then when we start talking about sex, that's when she makes her appearance.
She's like, what's that? I am here. Where's the penis?
Right. So love to Black Rosita. Shout out.
Am I the only one that feels personally like it's a sin for Ciel to be with anyone else when Sebastian's there? I mean, if you have to choose between what's his face and then Sebastian, wouldn't you pick Sebastian every time? I would pick Sebastian every time. It's just like, nope.
Oh, you mean like Ciel right now in the moment?
Yeah.
Between Johan and
Yeah, I'm just kind of like, I feel like it's a sin. It is a writing sin. It is a Kuro sin. It is just, it's impossible. It's not
Ciel is
existing.
breaking the damn contract.
He is. He's supposed to be having sex with Sebastian.
That's great. Okay, I guess the reason, I'm going to go ahead and quote this. This is Sebastian's quote, kind of. I mean, I'll quote it better once we get to the part. But I know that Sebastian at one point says, oh, Ciel sees this as a game. Like, this is a game to him, to be sleeping around with Johann, having sex, like, everywhere around the townhouse, just to kind of, kind of mess with Sebastian or
What
piss
a
him
hoe.
off or get him jealous or whatever. Yeah. So I guess that would explain it. So.
Poor Sebastian.
Because if Sebastian is being all sassy and not wanting to do it with Ciel, like, I mean, Ciel's gonna kind of go to second best, I guess.
Why would he not want to do it with Ciel? Who doesn't want to do it with Ciel?
Right. God damn it. Where is Spears in this?
Frickin' lesbians want to do it with Ciel. I mean,
that is lovely. So anyway, enough babbling about Ciel and Sebastian and contract breaking, apparently. Chapter 31 starts off with Ciel and Johann in the middle of sexy time. And then when Johann is leaning forward to remove the eye patch off of Ciel, Ciel's kind of debating whether to show it to him or not. And so I'm going to go ahead and read a Sebastian quote here.
Don't do it, Ciel, don't do it.
Right? Okay, so Sebastian says, keep this secret, young master, for it is all I can possess. And it's interesting because I had this thought as I was reading it, and I'm thinking, like, okay, if Ciel shows him the contract symbol, like, if he reveals his eye, wouldn't Johann be a dead man? Like, maybe that's how he ends up dying, as opposed to how I've been predicting his death, to be. Because I was saying, oh, maybe at the ball, maybe his dad catches him with Ciel or something, and it's a disgrace to the Harcourt family that the dad just goes all ballistic and kills his own son. But, I thought, okay, maybe Johann's just gonna die like this in the middle of sexy time.
That would
Sebastian's
be interesting.
gonna lash out at him. But that doesn't happen.
Aw.
Oh, that's so mean for Johann.
I haven't read it yet, so I feel no sympathy.
Oh.
I have developed no bond.
Oh no. You have to read it though.
I know. I've been lazy.
It's okay. We all have our lazy moments. Anyway, I'm going to read another bit from the chapter now. Johann could not understand what was shimmering before him. He could not begin to conceive just how deep Ciel's secret was, and here he was exposing all before this pretty lad, ready for all to be ruined. I expected Johann to take one full look at that terrible Violet and stop in horror, to cower from the bed, which would have been my cue to end it all, but he did no such thing. So, surprisingly, and I don't know, I don't find it very surprising, I guess, that Johann's just kind of like, oh, like, he has no freaked out reaction or anything. Like, he's just kind of chill with it, I guess. And then it eventually leads to this part where Johann offers Ciel to show him love, to make love to him. And, Ciel accepts, and Sebastian, of course, is continuing to observe all of this. And I have another quote here. I have tons of quotes I jotted down this time around, so it's kind of nice. The pleasure built slowly, with each thrust a gentle tremor, a tangle of arms that grasped tighter with each wave, gold and silver, musk and rose, each moan a confession, and every touch an epiphany. When had I ever evoked such in him? So after reading that quote, I'm like, someone's jealous. And I do have to point out, I loved the gold and silver phrase, because it's like, you've got the golden-haired kid, and then you've got the slate-haired kid. So I really liked how she described that. It was kind of cool.
She does have a way with words.
She does. All right, and then to finish up with this scene of the chapter, I have one more quote to read. So this is Ciel to Johann. Just be my pleasurable company, Johann. That's all I ask. He nodded, and Ciel settled back into the embrace. As the light could no longer stretch from the western sky into their chamber, they sank into exhausted sleep. So that's the quote that ended that scene. Now we're moving on to another one. I'm just going to continue reading. The two did not come down for dinner, so I was afforded some time to reflect on what I had seen. Would Ciel explain to Johann the contract? There had been some sort of unspoken understanding between the two, in those moments prior to them drifting to unconsciousness, where Johann saw no reason to pry. Just be my pleasurable company, he had said, which meant that Johann could be nothing more, for some barriers were impenetrable. after reading that bit, it's kind of like, okay, Ciel is kind of throwing it out there to Johan, like, oh, you're just gonna be my buddy, pretty much. You know, we're not gonna we're not gonna turn this into like a boyfriend relationship.
You are my
like,
concubine. I do not love you. I just
Right.
love yo man meat.
I know I was gonna say you are my.
You are a
Oh,
priest.
I was just gonna tell you, it was so funny. So my mom and I, we were watching something on the History Channel on Sunday, and there were like all these priests like talking. I think it was like a Seven Deadly Sins special thing. And I'm just like, oh my God, all these priests. And I was so tempted to say I am a priest, but I'm like, dude, I just can't. Because, yeah, my mom will just look at me funny like she did the first time. And, you know, it's our inside joke, so. But yeah, I have to do it right, so let me do it. I am a priest. Okay. I just had to get that out of my system.
Oh, it's so good. When we eventually
Right.
have the bloopers thing for all the revelations and everything,
Oh, I know.
we're gonna end up having like an I am a priest counter. Like how many times through all
Oh
the
my
recordings
gosh, yes. Yes.
That would be
That's gonna
great.
beautiful. Oh, so speaking of that, I was listening to the radio on my way to work this morning, and they were talking about like this guy. It's got to be on YouTube or something. Some guy took all like the Michael Jackson grunts and put them into a compilation of like 3 minutes.
Oh my god.
And so they were playing it this morning, and it was so funny. So like one of the radio hosts was like, "Oh, that's what I sound like when I'm in the bathroom," and then like the other host was just all like, "Oh, you know, it sounds sexual," and like I was thinking that the whole time. I was like, "Oh God," and then like I'm like randomly starting to smile, and I'm just like, dude, anyone like looking over like is just gonna be like, "What the."
Oh, that is great. I have
I
to
know.
look that up now. Like when we're done here, I have to
I
look
know.
that up.
It was so funny. It was pretty cool. I'm like, how does the person's had to have laughed. Like, I could not keep a straight face doing that. Like, so anyway, back onto the review here. Ciel later shows up for midnight snack. And at first I was like, ooh, Ciel has got to be like super horny right now because he probably wants some sexy time in the kitchen with Sebastian, which I would have no complaints about.
I want sexy time everywhere with Sebastian.
Right? Like, for real. But it doesn't happen.
Ah, damn it.
I know. So anyway, he literally does go there for a snack and whatever. He's snacking away. And eventually he notices that Sebastian has his jacket off. And so he comments about it. And Sebastian's response is, oh, it's past hours. There's no point of formalities, is there? To which Ciel is all like, oh, you're so defensive. And so on and so forth. Until Sebastian gets irritated. And so here's another little bit from the chapter. So do you plan to sit there and continue asking me silly questions? No, I was hungry. What the hell, Sebastian? You're being particularly condescending, more so than normal. I apologize if my tone has offended you. Are you irritated with me? Was it because I screwed up your routine? Because I took no dinner? Is it because I'm wearing Johan's pajamas? And then Sebastian's all like, that is a ridiculous reason to be irritated. Which Ciel responds, but you are irritated. So continuing on with that scene, of course, I was thinking the whole time, like, oh, Ciel knew in the back of his mind that Sebastian was jealous. And eventually he says that to Sebastian's face. He says, you saw us. I didn't pin you as a jealous type. And Sebastian replies, do not presume to know my feelings. And then this is where I was like, oh, geez, like, there's going to be hotness that happens. So Ciel then wraps his arms around Sebastian's neck, but Sebastian pulls away from him and goes on to hand Ciel his journal, which Sebastian had in his jacket pocket. And so, you know, Ciel leaves to go to the library to read the journal, and Sebastian sticks around to kind of finish up in the kitchen. I think he was like washing dishes or organizing like the spices cabinet or something. And, you know, after he's done, he eventually goes to find Ciel in the library, and he's seen that Ciel has fallen asleep. His cheeks are tear-stained. And prior to this, Ciel, you know, when he was given his journal, he was like, oh, am I going to be disappointed with myself, like with what I've written in here, kind of a thing. And so, I mean, obviously that was enough to make him cry. So, I guess Sebastian kind of feels bad a little bit because he's like, "Oh, young master," like, um, and then Sebastian picks him up and takes him back to his room, and of course Johan's still sleeping in the bed. But yeah, he just kind of rests them together, and then over the next few days, Ciel and Johan are getting down and dirty all over the place because Ciel knows that Sebastian's going to be lurking around and watching. And so we come to the quote that I mentioned minutes ago about the whole Ciel seeing it as a game. So here goes. Ciel saw it as a game. It was always games and tactics with him. He would try and steal glances beyond Johan's gaze, heavy with pleasure, trying to seek me out behind a corner. But I kept myself well hidden. I just find it so interesting that, Ciel is kind of trying to irk Sebastian some more. Like, I don't know, Ciel's probably thinking, oh, if I'm getting him jealous enough, like, eventually he's gonna break. He's gonna come find me and, like, rip off my clothes and take me again, kind of thing. I don't know. I mean, I feel that's kind of Ciel's mentality, just to f with him. Meanwhile, Sebastian, like, he knows what Ciel's trying to get at, kind of a thing, and he's just not giving in to the game.
He's not having any of it. He's like, I know yo crap. I'm not doing
it. Exactly. So, now we get to the good part. Kind of. So, one day, Lizzie shows up.
Oh, Jesus.
And I was just like, oh, like, the manor's going to be, like, super quiet. All of a sudden, she's just going to hear moaning and groaning from somewhere. And thankfully, Ciel and Johan were in his room. They weren't, like, against a window or, No, I'm not kidding. One of the scenes was against a window. I didn't,
Oh my God, that is great.
See, you have to read it. But yeah, so they're in his room, whatever. It's not loud. And, Sebastian greets her and, I guess it was a surprise visit because I think Sebastian was a little taken by surprise as well. And, Lizzie's like, oh, where's Ciel? And she's ready to go up the stairs to kind of search for him. And Sebastian is sure to stop her, and he distracts her with the gramophone. Yay, gramophone. And Sebastian himself goes in search of Ciel. So, this is another good part. I love this. Johan is giving Ciel a blowjob when Sebastian shows up. And Ciel locks eyes with Sebastian. And here is the quote to sum up or finish up chapter 31.
Ciel's such a hoe.
I know. I love it though. Okay. So here it goes. It was not long before he moaned, toes curling, hips bucking against pursed lips, Johan's whimper as that pretty little mouth was filled, and my heart fluttered in my chest, and I felt such a burning across the bridge of my nose. Such strained orgasm oscillated between us, some fibrillose connection that pricked at my hand and my eyes. All this alerted me to the indisputable conclusion that he came because of me. Lowering my head, I took a breath, not sure whether I was feeling defeated or triumphant. It mattered little. With hands laced behind me, I dictated in my most even tone, "Are you quite finished?" And I'm just like, Ciel just... I just loved that scene. I don't know how to explain why I loved it. I just did. Like, just the eye contact and Sebastian being like, oh, he came because of me. Like, it's not Johan. Like, heck yeah. Yeah, okay. I'm glad I entertain you with my reaction to these things.
It's so perfect. I love it so much.
Thank you. I try.
He came because of me, not Johan. Mm-hmm, yeah.
Yeah, he came because of me.
Because I am a priest. No, he's not.
I'm Rick James.
Oh, Rick James.
I freaking love Rick James.
Right?
Yes, he's amazing. And he made Tina Marie famous, which is awesome. I love them both.
I love Tina Marie so much.
I know, me too. I'm so sad she died so young.
Right?
Like, dude, she's my idol, man. Like, her voice is amazing.
Oh, I know.
I wish I could sing like that.
Lover Girl is like my all-time favorite song.
I love that song. Like any song. I did Square Big for a talent show. I did okay. I had like 2 parts where I like didn't know the line. Like it's not that I didn't know the lines. Like it just like slipped from my mind, and I'm like, shit. So I had like little choreography, so I just kept doing that, and I was just like smiling, and I'm like, I've got this. Yeah. But anyway, to, you know, kind of make predictions, I guess, for the next few chapters and whatnot, I think now with more certainty, Lizzie's gonna catch Ciel and Johan in the act.
Good.
And and like I've said before, it's more than likely gonna be at the ball, which hopefully will happen next chapter or 2.
Ah, balls.
I know. And in the next chapter or 2, Eglentyne said that Grell is going to make his appearance.
Yes! Oh my god. I can't wait.
So, I know you're thrilled about that. And she mentioned other people are making appearances too, so I'm like, dude, you know, if people are going to die, because she's hinted at potential death, I don't know how many people, but regardless, like, William's got to make an appearance too. If Grell's going to be there, maybe William's going to be there.
Well, of course, duh. I'm hoping if Grell's going to be there, then Johan can die and Grell can reap him, and then Grell and William can go off and have sex somewhere.
Oh.
I'm sorry, I like Grell and William combinations. I ship Grell and William.
That's fine. Okay, no, that's cool. I ship a lot of pairings. So anyway, I thought about it and I'm like, if William shows up, there's bound to be some civilian tensions.
Ooh.
Of course. Always. And I'm like, dude, it's gonna be like frickin' like in Revelations when, you know, Sebastian pins spears against like the bookcase.
Oh,
I'm
that
like,
was so hot. Oh my god.
So I'm just like, dude, something like that's gonna happen here. I'm gonna comment about it, and so will you, I know. So yeah. So also, speaking of William, I'm kind of thinking like, okay, what if Eglentyne pulls a Black Rose Eden or Anime Cujo and throws in some Cielium hotness into the story? I'm like, dude, like in my dreams probably, but you know, if Ciel does it with William, I mean, that's certainly gonna piss off a certain demon. No doubt. So
we can only hope.
If Ciel wants to continue with Sebastian, like, literally. But if he wants to continue messing with Sebastian, he could totally sleep with William.
William is all the dick you need to mess with Sebastian.
And then that can piss off Sebastian even more. Ha! In your face, Sebastian, because Sebastian's all like, oh, I can't give you love and blah, blah, blah.
Like, why? That is so stupid.
Ciel's just gonna go around, like, whoring himself to people.
Right? Do you want him to be a whore, or do you want to just be only with him forever and ever and ever? Like, seriously.
Hey, this could turn into a promises thing.
Right.
Where Ciel and Sebastian are, like, together forever, but, like, you know, Ciel has his little, you know, affairs every now and then. So, yeah. I'm down with that.
God, Ciel's such a hoe.
I love it, though. I love it. I know. I'm sad that Alois isn't in this, but, you know.
How can you have a Kuro thing without Alois? That's just so depressing.
It is rather sad. But who knows? Maybe. What if she brings him in?
Ooh.
What if Alois attends the ball? Because she never specified, like, who else. She only mentioned Grell is going to make an appearance in the next chapter or 2. We don't know about any other people making appearances. So, who knows? So that's it for predictions that I have. So, you know, I'm eager to see this ball. Like, I've said it every end of chapter. So, I want to see some dancing. I want to see some music. I want to see some sex.
Some death.
Okay? Some deaths, yeah. Preferably Ciel Sebastian. Can they just have, like, a makeup session. Like, come on. Okay. Eventually, Eglentyne will grace us with that. I await that moment. So that is it for the Chapter 31 review, and we'll see you again for Chapter 32.
Yeah.
Yes. So thanks again, Alex, for joining me.
You are more than welcome.
Reviewing. And yeah, we'll catch you guys all later. Bye.
Bye.